Okay, welcome back to another episode of Third and 23. I'm your host, Alex, here to bring you another futures video with an NFL kick to it. We're going to talk breakout plays for 2025. I'm going to give you three non-quarterbacks that I think are going to break out in 2025. If you're just asking yourself, well, what's the gambling angle here? If you're a prop better, you can do future prop bets on these players. For example, this player will clear 1,000 yards. This player will clear 8.5 touchdowns and so on. Just keep in mind, each one of these players has a specifically designed prop bet for them, depending on what book you look at. And then you look at it from a fantasy football perspective, right? These are three guys that you're not going to take in the first couple rounds. But when you get to those middle rounds, these are guys that you're going to look at, and these are the kind of guys that can help get you over that last hurdle to that fantasy football championship, in my opinion. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start things off with one Rome Odunze of the Chicago Bears. Coming off a rookie season, I saw him grab 54 balls for 734 yards and 3 touchdowns. You can call it a mixed bag for Rome Odunze last season. A lot of the blame of that Chicago Bears offense got, rightfully so, got put on head coach Matt Eberflus. He got booted out the door after Thanksgiving. In comes Ben Johnson, former offensive coordinator, Detroit Lions, had one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL for the past few years. And because of that, you expect him to give a shot in the arm to the entire offense. Then you throw in the fact Keenan Allen, he's out in Chicago. He's on the free agent market last I checked. So now Rome is going to move up to number 2 in that wide receiver pecking order. So when you're comparing it to Detroit, you're looking at DJ Moore. He kind of fits that Amaral St. Brown mold, right? Underneath stuff, intermediate stuff, coming like Amaral does out there. Rome Odunze, he's fitting that Jamo mold. Now, he's not as explosive as Jamo, but his average target depth last season was 13.9 yards. So Caleb Williams was looking for him down the field already, and that was with a bad coaching staff, with bad play calling, bad play design. With Ben Johnson, I think you're going to see a lot more of these balls hit downfield, and you're going to see that Rome Odunze first-round talent start to really come out this season. So I expect Rome to be able to clear 1,000 yards if you're looking at prop bets that are sitting at right around 1,000 yards for him. Next up, let's move to Marvelous Marvin Harrison Jr. Last season, he's coming off of his rookie season. Last season saw him grab 62 passes for 885 yards and 8 touchdowns. Now, one thing with Marvin Harrison has going against him, and this is just my opinion, is I'm not the biggest Kyler Murray fan out there. That said, Marvin Harrison Jr. is really the only weapon on the outside. I know they got a really good tight end. Marvin Harrison, he's MH3. He's the only guy on the outside on that team, and I expect the Cardinals to be trailing in a lot of games this season. So if you're talking about fantasy football, right, if you're looking at a fantasy football perspective, I think there's going to be a lot of passing by the Arizona Cardinals in the second half of a lot of football games this coming season. And with him being the primary option, in that sense, not necessarily on the win-loss column, right, or the win column, but in the stat sheet, I think you can see Marvin Harrison put up some numbers this coming season. I thought he was the best overall player in the 2024 NFL draft. I would have took him number 1 overall. I would have traded back and taken him with my first-round draft pick because I knew he was the best player in the draft. But that's just what I would have did. I think he's going to be one of the top wide receivers in the NFL very early in his career, maybe as soon as next season, 2027. But, he's getting held back by his QB in the sense of win-losses goes. But in terms of stats, I think Marv is going to go off this season, expecting a big year from him. And then finally, we're going to go with one Ricky Pearsall. Now, Ricky Pearsall, you look at his numbers, you say, man, 31 catches, 400 yards. Why you got him on this list? If you guys remember, Ricky Pearsall was, sorry about that. Ricky Pearsall was actually shot in the offs before the season started. And he took him a long time to recover, obviously, right? And then when he finally he played 11 games last season, but it took him some time to get into the mold, get into the flow of the game plan. And then he's behind, guys like Deebo Samuel as well. But coming into this year, Deebo, he's gone. Brandon Ayuk is coming off a season-long injury. I'm not a Brandon Ayuk fan as it is. I think Ricky Pearsall is probably already better than him. So Ricky Pearsall has an opportunity here to really develop into Brock Purdy's number 1 target. And because of that, I think you're going to see this target share, 46 targets last season, in 11 games. And I think you're going to see that go way up. By the way, he had, if you're somebody who looks deep into the analytics, deep into the numbers, his true catch rate I want to say it was what 100 and I don't remember 52%, something like that. It ranked number one in the NFL. So he was catching everything that was thrown his way as long as it was a good ball. In this offense, you're going to see a ton of underneath intermediate routes for Ricky Pearsall. I think he's going to eat off that same stuff that Debo was eating off of. The only difference is Ricky Pearsall is not going to be out of shape like Debo was this past year. So I think you're going to see Ricky catch a lot of passes in this offense. I think he's going to develop into Brock Purdy's number one target. And if you're talking prop bets and as far as catch total, Ricky's going to clear that. Yardage, he's probably going to clear that too. In fantasy football, if you're in a PPR league, I think this guy's going to eat for you this season. So I like Ricky Pearsall as my third and final breakout player for 2025. So that wraps it up. We got Ricky Pearsall, we got Marvin Harrison Jr., and we got Odunze, 3 second-year wide receivers that I think are going to break out in 2025. If you like the content, please like, comment, subscribe, all of that. As you are going to see more off-season videos as we continue to progress to the regular season, or as we continue to progress to the regular season, where I'll do all of my weekly bets. But anyways, take care.